What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another FIFA 23 video. Today we are going to be discussing the brand new meta that is taking FIFA 23 by storm, lengthy players. That is right, EA have introduced on next gen consoles only this thing called Accelerate, and it basically is there to equalize players who have generally low pace. We're going to go through the ins and outs of it today and give a breakdown of some of the best available lengthy players, some of the control players that you can make lengthy, and what it actually does and actually means. Before we get into that, guys, if you want to drop a sub to the channel, it would be very much appreciated, and hit that like button if you found this video useful. Let's get in to what lengthy players are. So guys, what is a lengthy player? Well, a lengthy player is somebody who is taller and stronger. These players need a bit more time to get going, but are able to catch up to anyone and even surpass them, provided they have enough distance. These players start slower, but will thrive over longer distances. And how do you know who is lengthy? Well, apparently it's 8 inches. No, apparently it is strength being equal to or above 65. It is strength minus agility being equal to or above 14. It is acceleration being equal to or above 55. It is height being 5'9" or taller. And they've given an example player of Virgil van Dijk. So to find out a lengthy player, you can do the math yourself in your head and just know, is the discrepancy here 14 or more between strength and agility? Do they have over 65 strength, over 55 acceleration, and are they taller than 5'9"? But you can also use sites like FootBin, FootWiz, Foothead, and Foot.gg to tell you whether they're lengthy. And I've been experimenting with lengthy players myself in Rivals, and I built this team. And this team, guys, has been absolutely brilliant for me in Rivals. And it is mostly full of lengthy players. Not everybody here is lengthy, but mostly full of lengthy players. And it's even utilizing players that are typically slow with poor agility and balance, like Paul Pogba. And I haven't put a pace chem style on him. But what I'm doing is, because he's lengthy, he's 6'3", he's got the pace, he's got the height, he's got the physicals, he's got the strength and discrepancy between agility at above 15 or 14 or above, sorry. And, you know, Pogba's not a bad card in previous years, but you've usually had to wait until a special version of him comes out before he's been like super usable. But this year it's 6'3", with 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, with really good shooting from range, and with the Maestro Chem style that keeps him lengthy, giving him 98 shot power and 92 long shots. He gets 93 kicks, 99 long pass, 91 short pass, and 94 vision. He gets 8 more reactions and 8 more dribbling, which makes him feel good on the ball. And what he gets, guys, is the ability to just sprint 4 days. And there's definitely, you know, something to be said about the way FIFA is right now, with less stick dribbling being a bit heavy, even for players with really high agility and really high balance. And there's something to be said for the passing being a bit of a nightmare. The Trivela shots, Trivela passes, and Trivela crosses being a bit overpowered. Corners right now are a little bit too strong. They're better than last year, where they were nearly impossible to score from, but they're probably a little bit too strong. And goalkeeper animations still need to be worked upon. But in terms of creating a balance where you can now actually use the key stats from Pogba in a way that makes sense, is very good. You know, in previous FIFAs, guys, the early day squads would be full of 99, you know, basically guys with like really high pace and really high dribbling, even if that meant lacking shooting and physical and passing, because you'd be able to get in behind so much that it wouldn't really matter if the other stats were lacking, because you just got the more attempts of getting in behind. But now you can use players, for example, like Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, even with the shadow on him and the nerf to chem styles, he only gets 8 acceleration and 8 sprint speed boost, which puts him to 78 sprint speed and, what is that, 74 acceleration. But once again, what you get to utilize from him is his massive in-game frame at 6'3", like Pogba, his 4-star, 5-star, and his really good passing, his really good physicals, his well-rounded dribbling outside of agility and balance, and his defending. And what this Accelerate feature has done, guys, as well, is make players like defenders specifically that were genuinely unusable in previous years, and they are now not only usable, but dare I say, meta. And someone like Ruben Diaz is exactly that. So he is above the 55 acceleration. He is above the discrepancy of agility to balance. He is tall enough. And you've got a player right here that in real life is insane. And in FIFA has always been looked down upon because 57 acceleration, 67 sprint speed. Even with a shadow in last year's game where you got 10 and 10, 67 acceleration, 77 sprint speed, nobody's touching that. You get any player with 90 plus pace, they're just going to burn them for days. Well, with Accelerate, Ruben Diaz is now way faster and able to defend way better. And now you can utilize that insane physical, insane defending, really good reactions of composure and good short passing. And he can actually defend like a good defender would, even if they were quite slow. Now, one thing to note about Accelerate and about lengthy players is there is still a difference between a player that is lengthy with really high speed versus a player that is lengthy with lower speed. So, for example, Erling Haaland is lengthy, and other than trying to figure it out in your head, as I said, one of the ways to understand if a player is lengthy or not is going to one of the accessible websites, Footbin, Foothead, Footwiz, or Foot.gg. They will tell you if somebody is lengthy, and then different chem styles do different things to players and could change them from lengthy to controlled, from controlled to lengthy, or even to the explosive Accelerate, which I think is the worst one. And what explosive is a big burst of pace, but over a short distance. In fact, if we read the pitch notes, EA say these are shorter or more agile players who are able to quickly cover short distances to get ahead of their opponents, even if that means slowing down after the initial burst of acceleration. And they give Vinicius Jr. as an option, right? And if we look at Vinicius Jr., of course, blistering pace, insane dribbling, but feels not slow, but catchable. And I do think that in the realms of real world football, Vinicius Jr. would be caught by someone like Ruben Diaz, especially over a long enough time, because A, it's way harder to run at full speed with the ball, but B, once these big defenders do get going, their big strides cover a lot of ground over time and over distance. And I'm not saying necessarily every time Ruben Diaz would catch a Vinicius Jr., and we've seen him burst past defenders and get fully in behind real quick, but football doesn't work in that manner where a player gets through and then nobody's near him for 10-15 yards unless there's been like a catastrophic error. But just in general, defensive lines can drop very, very fast and get back into the box very, very fast. And I think EA have captured that here. But we've got two players here just to show you guys a little bit of a difference and why I think this is so brilliant this year, because there are far more viable ways to play this game now that you can utilize tanks. You can get speed out of them, especially with someone like Haaland, who is already fast. And if you give him a Hunter Chem style, has 99 sprint speed, near perfect shooting, very good dribbling, especially for a big man, insane physicals, 6'5" tall. And because of that, I'd probably give him Hawk and get that extra 8 jumping on him as well. This guy this year is going to be the best player in the game, I think. Outside of heroes and outside of icons, Haaland is going to be the one guy that I think is going to stand out above all else. Last year it was Mbappe or Neymar. The year before it was Cristiano Ronaldo. This year I think it's going to be Haaland, because unless you have a lengthy defender chasing him back, they're just not going to catch him. And even if you have a lengthy defender chasing him back, unless they have then the acceleration and sprint speed that is up there with Haaland's, they're not going to catch him. So it's going to be really difficult when Haaland gets in behind and when Haaland gets through one-on-one and can do a skill move and get past for anyone to catch him. And I think it's going to make for a really interesting game of FIFA, because I think for the first time in many years, skill moves and weak foot aren't going to be as prominent in game. You know, in previous years, by even within the early stages of the game, having someone with either 4-star, 4-star or 5-star skill moves or 5-star weak foot was paramount. You know, 5-star skill moves to abuse those skill moves, 5-star weak foot to abuse finesse shots or something. You know, Pedro last year, the SBC Pedro was amazing because they're 5-star weak foot. You could just finesse from anywhere for days. Well, now you've got players like Haaland that you can cross the ball to, or you can thread the ball through to, or play a chip through ball through, or hit the power shot or the Trivela broken shot, or from corners, Haaland's going to be a beast. Like, this is the first time we're going to get players like him that are going to be usable, like Milinkovic-Savic and like Ruben Diaz, that are actually going to be usable. And when we look at some of the best players, the top players in world football, and of course in FIFA specifically for rating that you would never ever touch, Toni Kroos is another one. So he's an interesting one though, because he starts as controlled. How do you get him to becoming lengthy? Well, you need to get the strength to being above 14 compared to the agility. He matches the height, he matches the pace. He's got, he does match the pace. He's got the 55 acceleration. He matches everything else. You just need to get him the strength. So there's obviously a few ways you could do that, but basic is not enough. Sniper is not enough. Deadeye doesn't work. Marksman, that makes him lengthy. It gives him 8 strength. It also gives him a nice boost in other dribbling stats and a great boost in shooting. And now we've got a guy that's 25,000 coins that is literally insane in terms of dribbling, although agility and balance is a little low. 5-star weak foot, insane passing, insane shooting from range, well-rounded defending and physicals outside of that. 25,000 coins. There's also a couple of other chem stars that you could apply to him, the architect being one of them, which again makes him great in certain areas and gives him lengthy. But it's just really nice that for the first time, guys, we can have a look at players like Cruz and actually use him as a viable option. I'm seeing a lot of people this year say 5-yard passes are so hard, man. They can't pass the ball. You know, they're really struggling passing. Me personally, and you feel free to disagree, this is just my experience on the game, I found passing to be quite good, unless the game like glitches out and it passes it randomly like at 100 miles per hour somewhere where you just haven't aimed it. And there are certainly areas in terms of like directional passes where they're not going where you're aiming them, when there's like crowded areas. So defensively in the box trying to pass out the defense and offensively in the box trying to pass to an attacker. I found it to be quite difficult because I don't think the game's registering what your mind's eye is seeing. In transition and through the midfield, I'm not finding there to be any problems with passing. And I think a lot of people might be struggling with the fact that they're using players that were usually good in FIFA, but no longer work because they have bad passing stats. And I really like that. We've also got Cristiano Ronaldo. This year, of course, a little bit slower, down to 81 pace. But Cristiano Ronaldo is another one of those players with 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, 6'2", with insane shooting and dribbling stats outside of agility and balance, that if you give a architect to, becomes lengthy, and the architect gives him a mad boost in jumping and strength, which is obviously amazing, and a mad boost in passing as well. And now you've got a Ronaldo who has the ability to just out like strip past defenders, especially if they're not lengthy. And obviously Ronaldo's been a beast anyway, but this year, I think this is going to take him back to his very best in FIFA, especially with the fact that he's got all the traits that you want. He's got the outside the foot trait, so with Travella as well. That's going to be amazing. And there are a lot of other really cool players, guys, that I think people would never, ever have thought about using. You know, Peter Crouch, if he was in the game last year with these stats, I honestly think would have been almost like discard price. Like whatever the discard price is of heroes, I think it would have been there. This year, he offers something a bit different because he's 6'7". He has the lengthy trait just as standard, which means you can afford to put a hunter on him, which gives him good sprint speed and acceleration, insane positioning and finishing, reasonable dribbling stats as well at 6'7". Or you could give him a hawk and get that jumping up to 86 with the heading accuracy to 94. And now you've got yourself a target man for the rest of FIFA. Like, it's honestly amazing, in my opinion, that someone like Crouch is not only now a viable option, but potentially the meta. Like, how mad is that? I don't think we would have ever seen it. And the guy that I had on my team that you would have seen just a minute ago, Shomurodov, I bought him earlier today just to give him a test. I wanted to see if, you know, just taking some random that I don't really know much about that looks good would play well. I bought him for 14,000 coins. He comes controlled. He's already got good base pace. And I think we're going to start seeing players with really good base pace that are lengthy as the meta. You know, there's a lot of icons. Let me see some of the offensive players that we've got. Someone like Didier Drogba. Someone like Haaland for sure. Who's got good pace? Cantona, Cliver is a good one. But I bought Shomurodov. And if you give him a marksman, no, he's still controlled there. Is it an architect on him? Yeah, an architect on him. Not only gets his short passing up mad, his vision very nice, his strength at 99, jumping up to 78 for someone who's 6'3". He's got really reasonable dribbling with that good pace. And in the amount of games that I played with him, which was obviously not a humongous amount, but all in Rivals, I think I'm in Division 6 now. In just the 3 games that I played, he got 6 goals and 2 assists, which I personally think is mad for a player like this. I don't think you'd necessarily get that in previous years. And so I love the fact that once again, someone like Patrick Kluivert in previous years, which one are we looking at? We're looking at the 88. Someone like Patrick Kluivert in previous years, people just wouldn't have used because his dribbling's a bit meh. He's like nicely well-rounded, but he's not quite fast enough. But now, 4-star, 6'2", Controlled, give him a hawk? No. What do we need to give him? We need to give him a marksman. Gives him the 8 strength needed. I tell you what, this is now a beast of a player. 86 base pace, 94 finishing, 91 shot power, 92 strength, 97 jumping at 6'2", with amazing reactions and ball control, good dribbling and composure. All of a sudden, we're looking at bringing in players that just never got the light of day in FIFA to them being super usable and even meta. And I think you can build some really fun teams with lengthy players. So I want you to do just that. Go test out your lengthy players and tweet me. Twitter.com/NepentheZ. Tweet me an image of your best team with lengthy players and tell me your experience about it. Because I think you guys are going to have a whole bunch of fun playing with these players because they seem to feel good. So, of course, there you go, guys. You can take control players and turn them lengthy. Control players and turn them to, they called explosive. And then you've also got at least one player, probably more, but Rui Costa has the ability to be controlled and lengthy and explosive. And I find that to be quite amazing. If you give Rui Costa an architect, he is lengthy because he has plus 15 in strength compared to the agility. And then really good passing and generally all-round decent stats, 4-star, 4-star, medium-low work rates. But because he's less than 6 or 5'11" or less, if you give him the artist, he becomes explosive because he gets a 15 boost in agility and then has really good passing stats, reasonable shooting stats, and you can then use him as an explosive player. So I think for the first time in a long time as well, you could see icons like Rui Costa, who's already down at 200k, being a really good option because he has the kind of like the board of being able to be anything you want within FIFA. And I really like that. So there you go, guys. That is the lengthy players, what they are, how they work, who some of the best ones are, in my opinion. And I think we're going to see a lot about this throughout this year. And I know there's a lot in the community. A lot of people are talking about lengthy players and what they are and how they change in gameplay and whatnot. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy them because they are just fun, usable players that in previous years you would never have dreamed of using. Pogba, Osimhen, Kostic, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, they are all now super usable in spite of the really poor stats in certain areas, the low skill moves and weak foot. Kostic has still been amazing. Look at that, 5 games, 5 assists and 2 goals from him. Absolutely amazing. I think EA have done a brilliant job with this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching today, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.